Welcome to the original American Warrior Radio Show. I'm your host, Garren, an Air Force veteran, retired legal advocate for veterans, founder of AVET Project, a VA accredited claims agent, and founder of AVET Appeals. If you or someone you know ever wore the uniform of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard or Reserves, or the Space Force, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio Show always efforts to bring you great information about VA benefits, news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues, military and veteran related. Our background music here on American Warrior Radio Show is graciously provided by none other than Stephen Hobbs, combat vet and very talented mill hop artist. Let's get right into the heart of the matter. Hi, everybody. Listen, we are privileged and happy to have a longtime supporter of AVET Project with us. And the reason I say long time is because she's been a military spouse. She's an attorney. She's got a whole lot to offer. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. Jessica Lynn Silva.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I always want to set the table a little bit. Give the viewers and listeners a little bit of biographical information so they know where you're coming from and the experience you have with the military.
I'd be happy to. My husband served 26 years in the Air Force, and he continues to serve after retirement on a contractor level. So he continues to do so. My father-in-law is retired Army. My father was retired FEMA and Air Force. Our oldest son served 6 years in the Navy, and our daughter-in-law still serves in the Navy. So we are very pro-military in our family.
That's very evident also. But you have special challenges as spouses of active and even retired military members. Talk about that for a moment.
Okay. Well, one is, as an attorney, one of the things you have to do is pass the bar exam in every state you want to practice law. So there's a lot of challenges that come along. Me personally, I always say I had to dabble in careers because every time I'd get my footing, establish a presence, a referral base, off we'd go to a whole new state, because we've done North Dakota, California, Colorado, overseas, just to name a few. So those clienteles can't always follow you as much as they would like to. We had 3 little ones, my husband and I personally. So he would already have gone and left me behind. So he would go on for training, and I would be the one buying and selling properties, finding us a new place to live, managing 3 little ones that missed their daddy, working, paying bills, all the things, and in college. So, and even taking as simple as vehicles, because one of our assignments was going from Florida to California, and you don't really think about all the logistics of what's going to go on moving clear across the United States.
And honestly, there's a lot of people that have no affiliation with the military that I hope they're listening to that. That's a massive amount of challenges, and yet you conquered them, as do most military spouses. Not all of them, though. Sometimes it can just be so burdensome that they want to give up, and their marriage may fail. Different things can happen. But you have to have the fortitude, you have to have the knowledge and the fortitude, and you have to have proper planning. You have to have a mind to make that happen, which you've done numerous times.
Yes, I personally have 4 degrees, so I always laugh and say, to keep myself sane and our marriage intact, I would buy us a house, I'd buy a rental property, I'd fix it up, and I'd go get another college degree to keep me occupied. Because it is. North Dakota was probably our most brutal tour, and probably over 80% of marriages, the wife and or spouse, because sometimes it's the wife serving, the spouse and children would show up and they'd be like, yeah, we didn't sign up for this part. See ya. And that was very common. And then along even with just DUIs and mental issues and all the different stuff, because you're away from friends and family. Your spouse or significant other is nowhere to be found, because like mine dealt with nuclear weapons. So he was always gone for days at a time. And then other systems was months at a time. So you do. I always say you almost go through the stages of grief in one aspect. First, you're hurt they're not there. Then you're pissed off they're not there and they left you with kids and you had to give up your careers. And then you kind of just come to this realization, am I in this and it's a team effort, or I'm not? And then once you come to that, you look for ways to just kind of build and create your own identity and work as a team and things like that. But yeah, being the spouse of a military person does have its challenges. I'm married to an officer. He was prior enlisted and became officer. So mine was, he would come home And he would step back in and want to just take over and be leader. And I'm like, dude, you've been gone for months and I've been running the whole place with kids. Like, so the popping in and out are dynamics too, that people just have to learn. And you can do it. You can. Is it easy? No. But is it possible? Yes.
And you've proven that. And honestly, you're like, I'm not going to say you're a pioneer, but if somebody's listening, if they're a freshly married person and their spouse is in the military, let's say it's a guy and his wife is going overseas and he's got to manage the kids and the family and moving and all these different things. Yes, it can be done. And you need good leadership. You need good planning. As an attorney, there's a whole lot of considerations, especially when you consider about deploying to a foreign country.
Very much.
You know, an unaccompanied tour, let's say. Talk about that, because you do offer several different things within your law practice.
I do. My firm, we focus on estate planning and probate, and I'm also a Supreme Court certified county mediator, so I can do mediation as well. Estate planning and probate, that's where we set you up for success to either avoid probate or minimize, and then we
What is probate for somebody that doesn't know? Explain.
Probate is the process of bringing a will to life. But it is a court process. In Florida, you need an attorney to do so in a formal probate. So it is expensive and it is time consuming. But in many situations, it actually can be avoided if you do the proper planning ahead of time. Even for those TDYs and deployments you spoke of, power of attorneys are crucial. For even as simple as talking to the cell phone company, the utilities, buying or selling property, cars, all of that. If you have it, it will be simple. If you do not have it and they're overseas, it's very frustrating and chaotic. So
a simple instrument as a power of attorney can accomplish a lot. And explain what that actually means, power of attorney.
Sure. We have a couple. There's durable power of attorney, which is known as your financial. So that deals with your homes, your cars, your bank accounts, accessing, paying bills, authorization, access. Your healthcare surrogate is a medical power of attorney. That is who can talk to doctors on your behalf, access medical records, set up things, authorize surgeries. So they can be the same people you choose, but we just break them into separate documents so that it makes it easier and it's more defined in what the role are.
For all American Warrior Radio Show viewers, Jessica Lynn Silva is giving you some golden nuggets, whether you're able to engage her services here, and you're licensed in different jurisdictions, aren't you, as I recall?
I personally only handle the state of Florida. Okay. So anywhere in the state of Florida, I'm your girl, and I can either assist you or direct you to who can. But outside the state of Florida, I just have recommendations. If I don't personally know someone I like and trust, then I will give you a couple helpful tips on how you could go locate somebody to try out. But yes.
Outstanding. And I know our post-production, John's going to put the link to your website. Contact Jessica Lynn Silva if you have questions about any information we're talking about. You mentioned mediation. Where would that come into play in a person's life?
Mediation is the fact, and now you kind of almost shift gears to there. It's in all areas, civil court, family court, all those. If you think of the family divorcing and they have custody issues, financial issues, a mediator's role is to kind of be the liaison between the two fighting parties and seeing if that neutral third party giving an outside perspective can help you guys come to an agreement before we have to go through the trouble and chaos and expense of a trial. So that's mediation can actually be hugely beneficial, and it's gained a lot of traction in the past several years.
Not only saving time, but a lot of money, I'm sure, also, and stopping the squabbling, almost like a really super educated referee, helping the two parties understand this isn't productive. We can go in this direction and everybody's going to leave at least satisfied, if not happy.
Correct. And we see them in all areas of law. I see them in probate, family law, civil courts, big tobacco cases, down to you didn't pay your rent or a credit card. So it can go all across the spectrum.
I know I'm picking your brain, but there's another hot topic I want you to speak about because you're so well spoken. You always just deliver the goods. Elder law. There's so many aged veterans out there, and unfortunately, there's a lot of unscrupulous so-called caregivers. What does elder law encompass, and how might that play into a 84-year-old veteran who's trying to figure out where he's going to live now because somebody ran off with his money or his nest egg? How does elder law play a part?
Elder law can be protective as simple as putting pre-need guardians in place because the person is so much has dementia, Alzheimer's, they lack the mental capacity. As you age, you either trust everyone or you trust no one. And both of those have negative connotations to them. You're either so freely trusting, you just hand your money out to strangers and believe the Prince of Persia will make you rich.
Yeah.
And I personally worked on cases where that's the case. Or you trust no one, not even that family member that really has your best interest at heart, but you are so frozen in time, you actually are hurting yourself because you won't allow them to help you. Pre-need guardians is something you put in place ahead of time where it says, if I ever get to that point that I have dementia, Alzheimer's, just not there really, this is who I wish to fully take over my life and become my guardian. I'm becoming more like a kindergartner and this person has my approval. If you don't have that document, everyone is going to go to court and fight of why they should be the person appointed and the judge. And that takes time, that takes court hearings, that takes attorneys, who has the best attorney that can speak the most eloquently. And that is where there is some that genuinely love the person. And then there's some that literally just want access to the keys to the kingdom. So those are that it's another document that just allows you to speak for the future. And they're priceless and they're easy to do if you do them now.
See, that's the key. The earlier, the better. And you mentioned that would apply to both financial and health issues.
Yes, you can actually list and divert it. You can say who's to be guardian of the person and guardian of the assets and the property. So it can be the same, or you can literally put it together, or you can separate and say this person has guardian of the person, this has guardian of the assets. And if you have 2 or 3 children, we can even make them all equal priority. And then we go further and say, do they all have to agree before action happens, or all 3 are equal priority and any one of the 3 who lives the closest can handle the affairs? So again, my role is to have a conversation with my clients, find out where your wealth is, where it's established, what your wishes are, and then put legally enforceable documents in place that your family and friends can use to make your wishes known later.
And you mentioned legally enforceable. That's filed with the court, and then each of the principal parties involved would get a copy as well, so everybody knows what's going on.
As long as you're mentally competent alert, you can change your estate planning at any time. So some people will already give the person they've chosen today their copies. Others, they hold it back because they might change their mind a couple years later and they have the freedom to do so. And once you pass away or lose capacity, then it's frozen in time. It's not allowed to be changed. As for filing it with the court, courts will not even see a trust unless you are in a trust litigation, which is one of the perks of a trust. You avoid probate. Nobody, not even a judge, will see what it says. Like, they're very wonderful tools. Pre-need guardians, you can put those in guardianship court right away. I'll ask my clients, and if they're much, much older.
Say the word again. I'm not familiar with what you're saying. Pre-need
guardian. That's
okay.
The one I spoke of when you have the Alzheimer's and dementia. I like to call it, I like to simplify the law into something the average person understands.
Of course.
In my head, a pre-need guardian is a durable power of attorney on steroids. That's kind of the easiest way to say it.
I think that's explained. That came across well. Folks, if you're watching this and you have seen the value in what Jessica Lynn Silva has said, contact her office regarding a whole host: estate planning, probate, mediation, elder law. You've got practical legal advice for a whole host of issues, but I want people to engage you because this information needs to be out there. Too many of us. Go up and down your street and just, if you could, do a survey and see how many people even have a will. It's scary.
It's scary. And I always tell you, if you don't want to leave a mess, call Jess. So
I like it.
It is very easy and cost effective to set yourself up for success. It is very expensive, chaotic, and ruins family dynamics when you're trying to do damage control later. So that's in my office. For the military, police, and firefighters, we offer free consults. So it costs you nothing but time if you were in those fields, active and retired. I also have a free estate planning basics PDF that will explain each document, what the purpose is, and how you can help. So even if you don't retain me, there's helpful tools that just by reaching out, we're happy to provide to you. I want to educate the person on how important it is. A lot of people don't realize they could avoid probate with a few simple actions that are even free and just take 5 minutes of their time. And then others don't realize that stepchildren do not have legal rights. So if you love your stepchildren, you need to have something that puts them in place, because biological and adopted children inherit under the intestacy law. Others do not. So these longtime girlfriend, boyfriends that are very common, these longtime blended families where you love your stepchildren, but you didn't do anything to account for them. And then there's other children they actually don't want because they're estranged, and yet they still end up with everything. So there's all these dynamics that are not the way you would want it to play out. And if you come and talk to me ahead of time, we can make sure that it goes the way you would like it to.
And you make things seem so simple. I know you like breaking things down and keeping them so the average person, the layman, can actually understand. So if you don't want to leave a mess, you call Jess.
Exactly.
Love it. And love you too. Thank you so much for your continued support of AVET Project. We hope that a lot of people are going to click on your link, because I know everybody basically has questions about this. Whenever you talk, legalese, a lot of us can get snowed over, but you keep it simple, and we really appreciate it, Jessica. Thanks for joining us on American Warrior Radio Show.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
Awesome. Till next time then, okay?
Sounds perfect.
Outstanding. And all you out there, don't forget, thank AVET. Hi everyone, it's Garren Cohn with American Warrior Radio. I'm here with my good friend Christian. We're here to deliver a very important message about a crisis in our land.
Suicide prevention, more specifically, veteran suicide prevention.
22 a day are taking their own lives. This must stop. This can't continue. If you or someone you know is contemplating suicide, please know that God has tomorrow planned for you. Don't take your own life, and just remember, suicide is a permanent solution
to a temporary problem.